All right, excellent. Hello, welcome to pretty much just about almost the end of the school year, regular school year. May 28th will be the end of the school year. Today is April 9th. Yeah, wow, we're getting on. Just over a month left, a little bit over a month left to go in the school year. Um, Other than that, we're getting close, right? We're getting close to summertime. All right, so creative photo, semester number 2, live lesson number 3. We're going to be going over some landscape and portrait techniques and take a look at some examples. And we will also be looking at some other things. So you should be finishing up with your segment, whichever one you're enrolled in. If you are in segment 1 or segment 2, you should be finishing up either one, wherever you're at, right? So here are some formal portrait examples. Obviously pictures of people, right? That's what we mean when we say the word portrait. We are talking about taking photographs of people, whether they be formal or they be informal. Now notice the depth of field in these photographs, the blurred background that's been given, where the focus becomes just the subject of the photograph. So think about that when taking informal portraits. You don't want a busy background because that's going to distract from your subject. Pet portraits are also popular. You can also dress up your pets to take portraits of them. Capture silly photos of them. But again, notice how the focus is on the subject, right? When we're taking portraits, we always want the focus to be on our subject. So when you're photographing landscapes, it's considered to be one of the oldest types of photography. Landscape photography focuses on subjects ranging from mountains to waterfalls to beaches to urban settings like cityscapes. So you have mountain landscapes, right? Tons of different mountain landscapes. You have beach landscapes. You can get tons of those here in Florida, especially being so close to the bay. You have city landscapes. You can get those in downtown Tampa, nice easily, or downtown St. Petersburg, wherever you're close to. And then we're going to talk about fine art photography today. So fine art photography is photography created in line with the vision of the photographer as the artist, right? When you're a photographer, you want to think of yourself as becoming the artist, right? Using photography as your medium rather than paint and a paintbrush, right? And canvas for your creative expression, all right? And whether you realize it or not, you guys have been doing and creating fine art photography all year long already. So let's take a look back. You've learned about cameras and the history of them, right? Right at the very beginning of the course. Then you learned about aperture and shutter speed, how to freeze motion, right? How to freeze motion. You learned about how to blur your background and all of that kind of good thing. You learned about different famous photographers that you were able to emulate and look at the styles of to see if you kind of wanted to bring in some of their style into your own personal style, right? Then we looked at different various photographic techniques, right? Framing, rule of thirds. There's tons of different techniques that we use. Then we looked at types of photographs, the stock photographs, the fine art photos, the product photos, the macro zoomed in photos, and more. We also looked at portrait, wildlife, and landscape photography. And we also looked at editing photos, the etiquette during talking about photos, and the display of photos. So we've actually done a lot, and you have taken some fine art photos, whether you realize it or not, right? So if you've ever gone out to the Instagram or the Twitter for HVK12 art, right? My Twitter or my Instagram, you'll see all of the fine art photos that have already been taken, right? There's a ton of fine art photos that have been taken throughout just this year. Every single year I do this at the end of the year. I go back to the beginning and I look at all of the photos that you guys have been giving me and what they look like, right? And then I show you, I remind you that you guys have been taking fine art photos all year long so far. So whether you think you can do it or not, you do know how to do it already. So as always, if there are any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Thank you, thank you, thank you for an amazing year so far. We're almost there. We'll have one more live lesson in May just to say goodbye and look at some more photos that you've taken. But other than that, thanks and stay healthy, okay? Make sure to get vaccinated if you can. Bye-bye.